Welcome, welcome, my tarot maniac. So, I'm Annabelle. I'm a tarot practitioner and psychic for over 35 years. This is the kickoff of our 2026 predictions, and we are going to start with a hot one. This is at your request. We're looking at Keir Starmer. Hold on to your hats. I'll be right back. Hey, Tarot fam. So, welcome back to Fortune Cookies. We are going to kick off our 2026 predictions for celebrities and politicians and royals and all kinds of good stuff like that. So, this is one that I didn't really dive into last year, Keir Starmer. Just the reason that I'm an American and I was kind of concerned about the politics that were going on here in America. If you know, you know. But we are going to take a look at what 2026 is going to be for Keir Starmer. Most of my friends in the United Kingdom are not happy with his leadership, but I want to break it down with his relationship with King Charles, the Prince of Wales, the heir apparent, and the EU and Donald Trump. You know, it looks like they're kind of button heads. So want to see what's going on with that. Also, is Keir going to stay in office? Are we going to have him for a little bit longer? So after this video, I am going to go live. So make your questions known. Come into the live and let me know if I didn't cover anything. I tried to make a really big outline for this. I think this video may be a little bit longer than I expected. I'm trying to keep these to about 30 minutes. But I'll be in the chat with you. We're going to premiere this video. So save your questions for when we go live immediately after. So it is going to be a blast. So I want to remind you guys, I am an ambassador for Otter Spirit. I am still wearing my citrine and moonstone bracelets. I have my moonstone mini and my moonstone regular on. There are discounts if you use the codes in my link that is in the description of this video. I'll also drop it in the premiere. You can have my own personal link and let them know that I sent you over. I love their intentional jewelry. I think it's a great company. The quality is unmatched in the industry, and it's an easy way to get a gift for somebody based on their sun sign, their intention, their favorite stone. You can go in there. The shopping's really, really easy. They have necklaces and earrings. So if you want to get a whole set, you can do that. And you can get 30% off if you use my code Fortune30 off any purchase over $99. And with Fortune 20, you can get 20% off any purchase. So you don't have to go big. You can go little. You can buy a little something for them, a little something for you. But definitely, I have quite the collection going on. And I love this company. They're genuine gemstones. They have the highest quality, up to AAA quality. And also their mission statement, they support otters in the wild. So every purchase, $1 goes to supporting wild otters and making sure that they are thriving and doing great. So I wanted to make sure I got the Otter Spirit in there because we are getting close to Christmas. We are 15 days away. So if you want to order, you better start now and get those orders in. So let's bring up the card view and get started with Starmer. Ready to go, guys. So I hope you are having a fabulous week, and I'm looking forward to seeing all of you in the live after this. So some of the things I want to talk about some fun facts. Starmer became prime minister on July 5th, 2024. It seems like it's been so long. The next UK general election will be held August 15th of 2029. He can run again, and there's no term limit. That's for my American friends. So how the public feels about him over the next year is really, really gonna matter. So let's get some questions here. So as always, this is a requested video. All of my content is requested by you. And I've had a lot of requests to step away from politics and the royals. Please put specific requests in the comments, I am more than happy to jump away from them. Mariah Carey was one, Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo are some others that I have been requested. I am going to get to those this week because we are starting predictions for 2026. And I want to tell you guys, my rating right now, I graded my readings from 2025 with AI, and right now I'm at 75%. So I think I'm doing pretty well. I expected it to be a little bit higher, but 25% accuracy is pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. Some things, it takes a little bit longer to come to fruition, but we will see about that. So I also fixed my wiggly camera, and I think I have my mic totally sorted out again. I don't know why it was having a little conniption. Let's blame it on that crazy full moon in Gemini that just passed. Maybe we're all over that. So what is the current climate between the British public and Keir Starmer? We're going to do like a general view of this. So I know some of my British friends, their heads are exploding as I say that. We're going to be using the Mystical Medleys Vintage Cartoon Tarot. I love this deck. It's going to be linked in the description of the video for any of my students or tarot reading friends that would like to get this deck. So what's the current emotional climate? Hold fast, hold fast. I have long said that if there is going to be any revolutionary action in Great Britain, in the United Kingdom, it will be quite polite. It will be very nice. And I do think that everyone wants to maintain the traditions. The 10 of Pentacles is about traditions and the way things have been and the way that they should be maintained. Tradition is something that I think is undervalued at times in our new world culture. I think people are trying to progress. I think the way that we progressed over my lifetime, I'm a Gen Xer, I'm almost 55 years old, but I think the way we progressed technologically, a lot of people are trying to change tradition as well. Is that a great thing? I think, the adage, if we don't honor the past, we may repeat the past. I think that is really important. So holding fast to those traditions, the King of Cups, they don't like that some of the traditions are being broken. This is the public, their opinion of Keir Starmer. That you just have to open one newspaper, one article online, and you're going to see this. So I don't think this is any surprise. How do the public perceive his leadership style? This is really a general condition. How are people perceiving it? Card does not want to come out. Six of Cups. It is not honoring the past. It is not doing it. What policy areas are going to shape his popularity or unpopularity in the year ahead? We're talking about 2026. Let's look at the economy first. The economy, I do think that people are a little bit more tolerant of the economy. I think they understand there's an ebb and flow of financials in every country. And the world right now is kind of teetering on financial weirdness. I'm not going to say collapse or anything like that, but it is financial weirdness. So I think it is very, very much important to keep the currencies and the financial structures, the economies of Great Britain and the United States and even China and Russia intact, because we really need to hold up the rest of the world. Now, you guys know, if you've been following me for a while, I have been saying all along that these digital currencies are being put into place as potential crutches for different economic systems. So they can kind of throw in Bitcoin, throw in Dogecoin to prop up a failing economy. Watch this space, because I do think that we're going to see this between now and 2030. So right now, the digital currencies are in their baby kind of infancy state. I don't think that they're strong enough to hold up an entire economy or prop up an economy as an emergency basis. But I do think that we're going to see it between now and 2030 as a safety mechanism on different economies. Is the British economy ready for that? I don't think so. I don't think that they have anything prepared for that. But I think that the economy is something that the the population of the United Kingdom, it gives a little bit of grace because they do understand that it is a bigger structure and it's not just one man who damaged the economy. Immigration is going to be our next topic. Are you ready, kids? Are you ready? Immigration, the world, it is a destructive factor in the United Kingdom. I understand this. Here in the United States, we do have an immigration issue. The issue is this: if we can't afford the kids we have, why adopt more? It's the same structure. And when Donald Trump got into office in 2016, one of the things that I said was, he's not the ideal president, but he's the dad president, where he's going to say, no, we can't afford that. He's a businessman. He understands revenue and output, revenue and overhead. So I think that in terms of immigration, one of the things that we are seeing is that the public understands better than anyone else that the system is not sustainable. They're seeing veterans being put out of public housing and immigration, refugees being put into that housing instead. So we're making our own native culture homeless and then adding in a new extra layer of culture. So I think that the public is fairly unified in this. I think they are fairly unified in struggling over immigration. What about the NHS? How's the NHS going to be doing? I think, again, this is something that the alternative, even though we have the King of Cups, I don't think that the population in Great Britain is going to say, let's overhaul the NHS. I'm going to tell you, the private system that we have here in the United States is not great either. But I don't think that we need a national healthcare system. I do think that, there's something very, very attractive about going to the doctor and not getting an invoice later. There's something very attractive about that. But I don't think that the United Kingdom really wants to make any wholesale changes to the way that their country is running in terms of healthcare. Is it perfect? No, but I think people are afraid of the alternative. So let's just stick with that. Cost of living. The cost of living, people are in a right state about the devil in disguise there. There's not much that I think that they can do to change the course of that. And I think people understand that they are stuck with the devil they know. So this is what we're going to see in the next year. So biggest issue I think people are going to be most upset about is immigration. I think they are going to really take issue with that. So does Keir Starmer gain any trust over the next 12 months in 2026 over the immigration policy? Five of Swords. There's going to be a lot of conflict about this. Immigration. Oh, the devil in reverse. This is not good. No. The idea, that Lover's card, the idea of partnership with immigrants, with refugees that are going to the United Kingdom, that is what he's going to promote. We are all people. We are all, they want to be part of the British culture. That is going to be the talking points. That's what they're going to put across. The message is convoluted. The message is not correct. And the message does not resonate with people, boots on the ground, who are experiencing this change of culture in the United Kingdom. So what can Starmer do to correct that course? What can he do to correct that course? The path, justice. Oh boy. So I'm a little bit hopeful with this. So the path is justice. The pressure is losing the, I want to say, indigenous culture of United Kingdom, and realizing that it is a detriment to him to have the people of Great Britain very, very upset with him. I do want to say any revolution in Great Britain is going to be very polite. It is not going to be like the revolutions in countries that we're familiar with, Cuba, the United States, or the colonies. We're just not going to see it. It's going to be a very polite, very I almost want to say not litigious, but it'll be a revolution fought on paper. And I think that Starmer is realizing that he has lost a great deal of support and that he can't import that support. Here, Six of Swords, I do think behind the scenes, he is working toward correcting the opinion of him with the general population. Public face over here, he is going to say, well, there's not much I can do about the people that are here right now. Let's see what we can do in the future. And the private goal, honestly, I don't think that he really cares. And I think a lot of people in United Kingdom and the that are being affected by this, I think they are going to understand that. Likely pivot, though. This is interesting. Six of Cups there, which means a return to the former values, a return to the way things were, So I do think that maybe during 2026, he is going to realize that he's got to play it a little softer. Is that going to be genuine? Is he genuinely going to play things a little bit softer for 2026? He's worried. He's worried about the way that he is wielding and hanging on to his power in the United Kingdom. That is a major concern. Why? Why is that a major concern? Because he does not want to lose his place in power. He does not want to move off that red square and have the queen come along and take him out. I'm talking in chess terms, not Queen Camilla. So that is pretty interesting. How will his 2026 go in general? We're going to do the over under on this. 2026. And don't you guys worry. Next year, if I'm still here, I am going to grade this reading too. How is his 2026 going to go professionally? Oh! Huh. So tens in tarot in the minor arcana are moving on to the next phase. So do we have Keir Starmer leaving office? King of Wands, he loses all his power. His potence is gone. When can we expect this? I'm going to shuffle for this. When can we expect this, guys? Wheel of Fortune. Now that's within the next year. The Wheel of Fortune, I always associate that with the Wheel of the Year. So that's within the next year, guys. So very curious, very, very interesting what just came out here. Woof. Woof. So will there be an election held sooner than expected? One card. Ten of Swords. Ten of Swords. Page of Wands. He, again, impotent. Seven of Wands. Seven of Cups. Those are adjustments and re-strategizing. And the Eight of Swords. I think he understands at some point during the year, probably within the first 6 months, I'm going to say, that his policies are not working and that his support has waned to the extent that he cannot continue. Very curious, very curious. So how is his relationship with the king versus the heir apparent, William, Prince of Wales? Look at King Charles first. And this is Prince William. Now, I'm surprised by this because I do think that King Charles likes some of the ideas presented by Keir Starmer. That is that Page of Swords. But the death in reverse is not evolving and not changing to meet that. With the Page of Pentacles, that tells me that King Charles would like to stay with traditional values, traditional structures in the country. A lot of you are going to disagree with me on this, but you have to remember there's a private face and a public face to the king and to Keir Starmer. So I think whatever is being said behind the scenes, King Charles is saying that's a little too far from what we have done traditionally. So that's pretty exciting. Dropping down to the lower row is William, the Prince of Wales, the Hermit in reverse. I don't think that William and Keir Starmer have the same metrics that they're working with. I think the data, the empirical history of what will be, what can be, what should be are very, very different. I think they have been educated in a very different fashion. I think William, while he is progressive and while he is showing that he's going to have some progressive values, possibly a little bit more progressive than his father, I think that tradition is something that he does not want to see go out the window. I think core values, core morals, core structures, he wants to see maintained and stay in place. And I do think that he is going to try to balance the ideas of maintaining institutions and established structures with adding some new things in. And, William, we'll get to him with his 2026 predictions, but I do think that he is going to lean more so into hanging on to the framework, the structure of culture for the British royal family and for the British public with Keir Starmer or whatever prime minister is in place. I think he wants to stay with the structures, but reduce weight. So maybe we are trimming some family members. Maybe we're trimming some expenses. I think that is the direction that we're going to see William go. And that is where him and Keir Starmer kind of differ on this, because I do think that Keir Starmer is saying, well, population is falling, we need to import people, which I don't think William really agrees with. I think William would rather foster and bolster and make it easier for people to have more children. I know that Elon Musk has been saying for some time that we need to have more kids. We need to populate the country. I'm sorry, my hair is annoying me. It's itching. I've got itches all over me today. So I do think that they're going to butt heads more than King Charles and Keir Starmer do. That's what I'm going to say for 2026. I do think that William is probably going to dig his heels in and say, I'm not going to support or do that, but you carry on and do what you're doing. So interesting. Let's see how Keir Starmer's relationship with the EU continues. So we know that, he's not a fan of Brexit. So let's see how his relationship with the EU. I think that his coziness with the EU and the WEF may get a little bit more obvious. I think we may see some of the machinations behind the scene there. Is he going to insist and move forward? High Priestess there. The Star, he's going to try and set the stage and set the conditions for better connection with the EU and the United Kingdom moving into the future. So this is something that he is going to make legacy for himself. We got back into the EU. We have a better partnership with the EU. So I think he's going to do that. How about Donald Trump? How is he going to do with Donald Trump? I don't think Donald Trump is the biggest fan. I don't think Keir Starmer is the biggest fan of Donald Trump, but get in line because there's a big crew. The Hierophant in reverse and the Fool. That's a very curious combination, because I do think that they both look at each other the same way. I think Keir Starmer looks at Donald Trump like he's not a leader, he's a businessman. And I think that Donald Trump looks at Keir Starmer, he's not a politician, he is a representative of a one world government. He is really somebody who is setting the stage for all borders and divisions between countries to disappear. Um, I think Donald Trump's biggest concern about Keir Starmer is his partnership with the EU. All of them creating a kerfuffle, including the UN, which I think would be the presumed military force for the one world government. I'm just saying. Predictions 2026. Keir Starmer, in terms of Donald Trump, going to keep trying to do things behind the scenes, and he is going to continue to speak out against Donald Trump. To what success? Is that going to be successful? No, it's going to fall on deaf ears. It's like, Prince Harry making the two stupid jokes. Now we have two stupid jokes about Donald Trump. So like I said, this video is going to go a little bit longer. So what does Starmer need to do to stay aligned with the public's needs in 2026? What does he need to do? Three of Cups. He needs to make the country more joyous. What will he do? We're just gonna leave Seven of Swords on there for him. So I do think that he is just steamrolling with his own needs. So with his own assertions and his own needs. So let me see. Does Charles trust Starmer as a safe pair of hands for the realm? I think he does. Why is that? Because you can't always make everybody happy. Very old-fashioned thinking. What about William? I think William does not see the longevity of Keir Starmer. I don't think he sees longevity. So I want to look at the 4 quarters of 2026. First quarter, what he needs, what he wants, what he gets. So Keir Starmer in the first quarter of the year is going to try and implement some new policies, some new things. I do think he is going to push things through very quickly. I think he I don't want to say new laws, but new policies. I think he's going to push some new policies through very quickly. What he wants is to really reorder things in the United Kingdom. But what he gets is a crackdown from the powers that be. Is this the power of the United Kingdom's people? Possibly. Is it advice from his advisors and possibly the British royal family? Absolutely. I think we're going to get some crackdown here. So second quarter, what he needs, what he wants, what he gets. So what he needs is to really reorder the fundamentals of the British public. And he is trying to do that by importing others. What he wants is a brave new world. I said it, a brave new world. He wants a whole new set of rules and regulations and likes and dislikes for the British public. But what he gets in the long run is the Two of Pentacles. We're going to have two separate cultures. But more cultures than that, but there is going to be a great divide between the cultures. This is in the second quarter of the year. I'm going to put these back in and shuffle again. Let's look at third quarter. This is starting in July. We're going to be looking at July, August, September, what he needs, what he wants, what he gets. There's so much negativity here, guys. So what he needs is to really punish and divide those detractors. What he wants is to come in really, really strong and disrupt any detractors there. What he gets is complete exposure of how this isn't working, how it isn't what the British public wants. Let's go to the fourth quarter. Justice in reverse, Four of Swords, what he needs, what he wants, what he gets. Very interesting. What he needs is for justice to ignore what he's doing. What he wants is everyone to lay down and be quiet for a minute. Just shh, go sit in your chair. What he gets is punishment and reflection. So what do I think is going to happen? I think in the first quarter of the year, Keir Starmer is going to try and implement some new policies. He's going to roll out some new policies that will be presented very quickly, very fast, almost emergency policies that he is going to put out there. The public is going to react with not chaos, not dramatics, but they're going to react negatively. They're not going to want to move forward with those policies, and people will be vocal. Tommy Robinson, will probably hear from him. Some other celebrities, I do think we're going to hear from a few more conservative thinking celebrities that are British. As we go into that second quarter, I do think that we're going to see a lot of dynamic discussion. I think people are going to be presenting their dislike, and I think that the new laws about speaking out are going to be circumvented. The new laws about speaking out in public, there are going to be ways to get around that. The voices will not be silenced. And I do get that we may see some immigration or emigration leaving, an exodus leaving Great Britain and coming back. We've already seen some of our self-exiled Americans, Rosie O'Donnell and Ellen DeGeneres, returning to the United States, a terrible United States where Donald Trump, the big old monster, is living. But I think we're going to start to see some British people leaving Great Britain. Not necessarily coming to the United States, but going to other places abroad, maybe going to some of the Commonwealth countries where you have like Great Britain, right? Light. But I think it's going to be very interesting. The speaking out online, I think, is going to be adjusted. I think the new laws in terms of what you can say and what you can do online are going to be bent. I think they're going to be found unjust and inappropriately applied in some circumstances. So very interesting. So third quarter, I think we do have some trouble for him. I think we're going to experience a lot of backlash, a lot of media criticism of him as well. So we can watch out for that. I think it is in the third quarter that the media starts to tip over a little bit more. I don't know if they're going to be affected by some of the censorship laws. I have to call them censorship laws. And then in that fourth quarter, I think perhaps we are going to lose him. So I don't know if he's going to make it through the whole year. What about after the fact? If he does leave office early, what's next? That'll be it. That'll be it. World, but we're not going to hear anything about him. He's not going to roll back into the public sphere, as most prime ministers do. American presidents typically just kind of go off into the distance. We have Barack Obama, who continues to speak out politically, Jimmy Carter here in the United States, who continued to do things. Tony Blair in the United Kingdom did continue to speak out somewhat, despite people not really loving him. I think Keir Starmer is going to be one of those that just disappears. And I almost think he goes and lives in Europe. I think he actually will hop over to the EU and live abroad, possibly with the excuse of being in a sunnier place. So that, I think, will be like 2027. I don't think we're going to see that in 2026, but I do think ultimately he's going to go and live on the continent rather than in the United Kingdom. So that's what I see for him. So we are going to go right over to a live after this. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope this gave you a lot of questions, and you're going to bring them right over to the live. You're going to be magically transported over there. So we're not done yet. We're going to go live after this premiere. We'll have additional cards on Starmer, his relationship with the royals, his relationship with Trump, his relationship with the EU. You want to talk about the WEF? We'll talk about that a little bit. And then after the live, I am going to be live all day on Hypsy. So Hypsy is a new app that I am trying out. It's kind of like Uber for psychics, but you can get instant readings with me. You can get a phone call, a video call, a chat call, and new clients have 75% off their first 10 minutes. So you can grab a recorded reading at any time. There's all kinds of stuff. I've got a year ahead. I've got future timelines, relationships, things like that, your career, anything you want. You can go on over there and check it out. So as always, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for supporting the channel. Thank you for being my clients. I am doing so well on Hypsy. I'm really excited about it. I'm seeing a lot of you for the first time over there, and it's really great. I do have my Calendly app is still open. You can still book appointments there. If you have trouble finding a spot because you're in a different time zone, you can always email me at fortunecookiestarot@gmail.com. But the Hypsy app has been cranking for me. So life is good. You guys are hooking me up and taking care of business so I can keep the lights and the internet on. So I will see you guys in just a few minutes. I'm in the chat right now, so don't save your questions. Save your questions for now. Bring them on over to the live, and we will be talking in just a few minutes. So thank you so much. I will see you all in just a few minutes in the future.